Today I'm going to share with you a new way that you can test someone to find out if they might be a narcissist without them even knowing it. And this test uses psychology that has been researched and proven by professionals at Wilfrid Lawyer University. Let's get started. My name is Angie Atkinson, and on this channel I offer free daily video coaching to help you discover, understand, and overcome narcissistic abuse in toxic relationships. I like to call it toxic relationship rehab. Does that sound good to you? If so, hit that subscribe button and let's get going. Most of us can agree that narcissism is something that is created out of a long and complicated process of psychological development, usually beginning in childhood, right? Well, with that being said, a 2013 study actually has inspired me to teach you a new thing. So the study suggested that it was a 2013 study done at Wilfrid Lawyer University. So we agree that narcissists are generally made, not born, right? Well, the study done at Wilfrid Lawyer University suggests that narcissism could be even simpler than we think. So it could be a mechanical failure of your brain to function in a certain way. And we've kind of talked before how scientists have figured out that narcissists' brains are thinner in the area that produces empathy, for example. So this is not completely far-fetched. Most people have a certain tendency, and it's across the board, to mimic people around them. And it's a sign of empathy. For example, if somebody yawns, picks up a cup of coffee, somebody else picks up, scratches, whatever. Certain things we will mimic people up to a point. If somebody's smiling, we will smile. It's natural for us to do that as human beings. Interestingly enough, if someone were choosing to recover from narcissism, they could also use this mimicking thing to actually develop empathy better, to further develop that part of their brain. The study suggests that this means that empathy can be taught with practice. So the project focused on that issue, mimicry, and how we naturally do that when we're around other people. Of course, it's a tendency, just officially, a tendency to inadvertently copy or mimic other people around us in social situations, which has competing explanations. One of those is that it evolved from basically social cohesion, right? Meaning that it helped people to relate to one another better, and so it became a human instinct to behave that way. The other, and this is the one that the study authors actually say they prefer, is that it is individually learned in a shorter time frame, and that it can be learned later in life. Here's the interesting thing. People who are known to be narcissists don't automatically imitate us, okay? They don't automatically do that imitation thing. So the official, explanation for this is that if you pick up a coffee cup, the thing that your brain does to make your hand move and the sensory aspects of that, so I'm going to pick up this coffee cup, the sensory aspects of what it looks like when your hand moves, how it holds the cup, things like that. Well, over time, these things become linked through understanding, learning what it looks like, what it feels like to pick up a coffee cup, right? So it reactivates the motor aspects if you also pick up a coffee cup and somebody else does. It's called the mirror neuron system, and it was discovered in the 1990s, and they say that it might actually be connected to many of the underlying mysterious cognitive functions that we all have, beginning with imitation to facial recognition and awareness of the self. And of course, there is a possible relevance to even autism. Interesting, right? Basically, one of the co-authors said, hey, this provides a certain kind of scaffolding, right, to empathy, because it lets us know and appreciate what's happening in someone else's mind. So using that same metaphor, this means that the narcissist has a shaky moral scaffolding. So the narcissist's ability to bridge or connect with other people is actually kind of in danger of collapsing, which just basically means that they're more interested in their own stuff than anyone else's stuff, which we already knew. This is not news. So basically during the study, the professors and the psychologists who were doing the study asked a group of students to take the NPI, the Narcissistic Personality Inventory, which, by the way, you can access at queenbeing.com if you'd like to check it out. But that's a really commonly used test to gauge narcissism and levels of narcissism, where they fit on the spectrum, stuff like that. None of them were officially diagnosed with NPD, but most of them were considered more or less normal. So basically they were watching a screen and they were told to raise their hand when something happened and not raise their hand when something else happened. And at the same time, they were being shown a video of someone else doing the same thing, but sometimes being right, sometimes being wrong, okay? So Professor Jordan, one of the authors of the study, said that what you find as an indicator of motor resonance, which is a term for the action of mirror neurons, is that people tend to show an interference effect when the cue and the visual image are incongruent, when they don't match. So you're cued to lift your index finger, even though the hand on the screen is lifting its middle finger. He says people are typically slower and less accurate in making the response in those situations. Interesting, right? As a general rule, they found that the automatic imitation effect is shared among most people. It's widely shared. But those who were more narcissistic showed much less of that interference. Their brain doesn't process the other person's action in the same way and to the same extent that ours does. But if it is processing the other person's action, there are additional mechanisms that they can deploy to suppress the input. So they have something blocking their ability to empathize. And as we know, that fits pretty nicely with how narcissists treat people. It's automatic, the doctor says, or the professor says, but he says that to the extent that it manifests, it seems to change as a function of personality. I find this fascinating. It could be part of the reason that narcissists sometimes have trouble in social situations, social relationships, because they don't automatically imitate. And that might be one of the reasons that narcissists have so much trouble in intimate relationships as well. But here's the bottom line. How would you test a narcissist without the narcissist knowing it based on this information? It's really simple. Simply watch them do things. Be aware of your movements, be aware of your face, your facial expression. Be aware of that you are picking up your coffee cup if you're having coffee with a narcissist. Be aware of that you are smoothing your hair or that you're doing that. Anything that you do that might be mirrored, yawn, see what happens. If the narcissist is not mirroring you at all or very little, then you know that they might actually be a narcissist. It's a good way to check and see. If they're not showing empathy by mirroring or imitating or mimicking your movements, they might be a narcissist. So it's time for the question of the day. What do you think? Share your thoughts and your ideas in the comments below. Do you think this is a legitimate way that you could potentially check to see if someone's a narcissist? Have you done it? If you have, tell me about your experiences in the comments below. If you haven't, are you going to try it? Let me know. All right, that's all I've got for you right now. Have a wonderful weekend. Thanks so much for being a part of my day and a part of my life. And as always, thanks for letting me be a part of yours. It really does mean a lot to me. I'll see you soon. It's my mission to teach others what I know to be true. You really can create the life you want. Take care of your body, take care of your soul, nurture the real you, and introduce him or her to the world. Be comfortable in your own skin and in your place in this world. Take your spot, take it now, and the universe will take its cue from you. You feel me? If so, subscribe to my channel. Let's get it done together.